The protected area along the Danube covers 10,000 hectares. Almost 1/3 of that is metropolitan land. Vienna's suburbs in spring, idyllic, and not as quiet as it seems. There's more life out here than in the city. The forest is crawling with thousands of amphibians. Out in the cultivated fields, there's no place for them. Toads and northern frogs. For a few days, they congregate en masse to mate in the Danube's backwaters. Few males will find a partner of their own. Females are in the minority. That goes for toads as well as frogs. Toads are quite different from frogs. They have warts on their skins and vertical pupils. But love makes blind, especially when you have to be quick to grab a partner. A young otter hunting alone for the first time. Adult otters will avoid toads, they just hunt frogs. But you have to know the difference. The acid secretion on the toad's skin is not meant to be an appetizer. But the otter needs another lesson. He has finally grasped it. Frogs simply taste better. No other wetland inhabitant had been eradicated from Central Europe as radically as the European pond turtle. Once every wetland forest was full of them. But where do you find wetland forests these days? Central Europe's only member of the turtle family need quiet bodies of water with lush vegetation. These are its hunting grounds. Nearby, they need dry, hot areas like old sandbanks where they can bury their eggs. This is a rare combination, even around here. Now in spring, the water is still cold, so the turtles spend hours sunbathing on driftwood. A shallow oxbow with banks protected by dense undergrowth is an ideal nesting site for little grebes and coots. Soon the reeds will be high. Then the floating nest will be practically invisible.
The snake shoots streams of venom at the eyes of its target. If any venom contacts the monkey's eyes, they'll swell painfully, and within minutes, the victims will be temporarily blinded. The adults now realize they face a threat and send out an alarm call. The deadly streams are fast and accurate. Any baboon within 7 feet of this snake is endangered. Fired out the ends of the cobra's fangs, the blinding toxins travel at 500 feet per second. The baboons make their way up a tree and out of harm's way, and the snake moves along too. Like the monkeys and the snake, even the sun seems eager to move on. For 6 long months, the hot winds of the dry season have placed tremendous stress on the East African ecosystem. But this day will end very differently. When the wind drives moisture inland from the Indian Ocean, the rainy season begins. During the months of October and November, these downpours wake some of Africa's toughest survivors. Many have survived the heat by hibernating in underground burrows to stay cool. When they open their eyes, there is only one thing on their minds: eating anything they can fit into their mouths. The African bullfrog, one of the biggest frogs on the planet. This one weighs over 4 pounds. The rain brings out another predator too. This nasty-looking face belongs to an odd species called the rain frog. It can't hop or swim, and its legs are so short it practically drags its body along as it hunts for insects to eat. Their main defense is a repellent slime that oozes from their skin. Most animals leave them alone, but most doesn't mean all. The herald snake. Armed with fangs and mild venom, this 3-foot male is active during the rains, and frog is one of his favorite snacks. Locked on his target, the snake zeroes in. Within minutes, he's in striking distance. The rain frog can't outrun the snake. Instead, he puffs himself up. This defense is designed to deter predators like snakes that swallow their prey whole. But the herald snake has a strategy of its own. He strikes his prey from behind, the narrowest part of the rain frog. The herald snake is a bully feeder and doesn't have to kill small prey. Instead, it eats them alive. As the rain frog struggles to survive inside the snake's belly, the process of digestion has already begun. Within a few minutes, he's picked up the scent of another frog. But this one's looking forward to the visit. African bullfrogs are ambush predators, and this one is a dirty fighter. The only question now is whether he's bitten into more than he can chew. And the answer this time is yes. Coming up, warriors with 8 legs and fangs duke it out. And a living pincushion has a run-in with a walking syringe.
spend the winter on the floodplain, drifters along the river, always in search of new fishing grounds. Here they always find food until the ice cuts them off from the backwaters. All the stagnant waters are now sealed up. Only the main channel is still open, but fishing in the strong current is tedious. Herring gulls also travel far. A few weeks ago they may have been on the North Sea or the Baltic coast. With heavy beak blows, the gull has stunned a fish. It is too big to eat out in the middle of the river. The cormorant has a solution, and he loses no time. He knows his kin. The only thing still flowing in the floodplain is the snow, driven by the wind across the ice. On cold, windy days, the beaver stays at home. But beavers are not marmots. They do not hibernate. Hunger keeps driving them out into the cold, and they have to work incessantly to keep their hole in the ice open. It's not a happy meal. The beavers are lazy now, in a bad mood, and not very nice to each other. After lunch, they quickly vanish into the burrow, into their beds. The otter has good use for the beaver's hole. Winter doesn't slow him down in the least. Such winter joys are unknown to the beaver. Quite obviously, this is not the beaver's favorite season. Even in summer, beavers are not particularly fast, but now they really take their time. Peevishness and pure joy simply don't see eye to eye. A flowering dogwood bush. As long as the sunlight can penetrate the canopy, carpets of wild flowers cover the forest floor. Snowdrops, Christmas roses and hyacinths, Come April, the entire forest smells of wild garlic. In May, orchids shine in the grass along the dry rim of the floodplain. Since last summer, a meanwhile forgotten treasure has been buried here. The spring sun will bring it to light. The baby pond turtles have hatched in autumn and waited underground, motionless, for the warmth of spring. The tiny creatures are no bigger than a euro coin. Without turning left or right, they hurry straight down to the water. This is the riskiest hour of their lives. There's no lack of predators in the floodplain. Saved. When you're that small, hiding is your only choice. The flood channels are still almost dry. The snow melt in the Alps has not yet set in. But when the spring flood finally does arrive, it's overwhelming. The Danube's might can be frightful. Once more, a stretch of bank sags away, providing the kingfisher precisely with what he's looking for and cannot find anywhere else. Only where the river remains untamed can the unique animals and plants of the floodplain find a place to live. Again, the flood has created a fresh gravel bank. A brand new breeding place for the plover.